Welcome to the thinking process of my inner thoughts. I literally have so much to say, and it's nighttime, so we're just gonna do a black video. But this is basically just my room. Not my face or anything, but my room. But anyway, we're gonna be discussing the Nintendo Master Plan. The Nintendo Master Plan is basically a plan designed to never fail. Nintendo has several things going for it and one thing against it. The one thing is the Virtual Boy, which was so terrible, so awful, that people nowadays, whenever Nintendo messes up, looks back to the Virtual Boy and go, it's Nintendo, we can get over it because the Virtual Boy was crap, but this is way better than the Virtual Boy. We're gonna forget about it. So, the Virtual Boy was literally the backdrop to Nintendo's master plan. Nintendo decided to take the gaming industry by storm and get as much retro gaming stuff as they could at that time, which it wasn't considered retro, out as possible. They had the NES, they had the whatever it was, the Super Nintendo 64, all this stuff. And everybody's like crazy, and it's just crazy amounts of nostalgia. And that's the first thing that they had. Second thing they had, we're going to talk about modern day, but the master plan was to build a console that was supposed to be next gen. Nope, this is my thing. This is my thing. Let me do this.
You need to say this before I forget.
Okay, fine.
Okay. The Virtual Boy was 8-bit.
I know that, but it was supposed to be next gen as in a goggles for your head. It was supposed to bring you into a three-dimensional world. It was its first attempt at three-dimensional technology because they were so interested in it and they thought a lot could be done with it, but they weren't spending a lot of time in research and just wanted to get another product out there because they were falling behind a little bit and they were getting a little bit stressed. But in the end, Nintendo lost miserably, but this was the master plan. The master plan was on purpose to show you how you can, go and continue being retro and still have crap tons of fans. This is why. Nowadays, more people in the gaming industry are children, females who are just trying to get into it, and elderly. Yeah, that's right. Or the family. And Nintendo does this wonderful, loving thing where they do simple games on purpose so that you can get the entire family and everyone kickstarted in the games. That's the master plan. It's not about graphics. It's not about gameplay. It's not about all this stuff that serious gamers look for. It's to kickstart everyone into the world of gaming. It's like the game that you played where nobody won, everybody lost, and you had to say, I lost the game. If you thought about the word game, anything that had to do with game, you lost the game. I lost the game right now. The point was to get everybody playing because it was supposed to be a trend. And it pretty much worked. There were even rumors on who started it, and then everybody was like, I lost the game. Anyway, back to the business. The point was, they're not in it for the doing the actual game. They're not in it for serious gamers. They're not dedicated to them because they're a minority compared to all the people who want to get into games and can't. Literally, if you're a serious gamer, the only other thing you want is a girlfriend who also plays games. And if they don't, you can get them into it using Nintendo. This is the master plan. The master plan is getting them into simple games. There's even a video on it, on a channel that I watch. I think it was Inside Game, but I don't know. On YouTube, and they were doing all this stuff and saying all these tips on how to get your girlfriend into gaming. Introduce her to simple, like, Lego games or whatever. Well, yeah, Nintendo's got a deal with Lego, like, whatever thing you come up with, we'll put it on our console, no questions asked, like, literally, go ahead and do that. And then they get all these Lego games. That's what they're doing. They're doing simple games so that they can, get people into it. every gamer that I know so far has grown up with something Nintendo. And just because they're saying, oh, there's just another Mario, there's just another Donkey Kong, there's just all this stuff, I'm defending Nintendo for once because this is their master plan. They have no margin of error because the only thing that they've really screwed up on was the Virtual Boy, and it's never going to get that bad again, is what they're saying, because, that thing was awful. It even was a health problem, and now they're trying to get health into it, so they're making up for that, and you don't realize that. So all the serious gamers and the smart people in the industry are looking down on everything Nintendo does, and nobody's thinking, but they're giving joy to the children, to the females who want to get into gaming, and to the elderly. That's what Nintendo's doing, and nobody sees that. That was their master plan, because every gamer I know started with a Nintendo console. Nintendo will always be there to get your children into gaming and get them into a margin where they can go off and leave Nintendo behind, and they've had their, it's like little boy toys where they're playing with the little toys, the kindergarten toys, the little bubbles, the little boats in the bathtub, the little trains, the little building blocks. That's Nintendo. They're little baby toys. And the big boy toys are stuff like PS4 and Xbox. But the point is, that's what they're doing. They're trying to get everybody who's not a gamer to be a gamer. That's what Nintendo's doing. That's the motto, that's the plan, that's the master plan, to get every non-gamer to be a gamer. So that's why you have to admire them, because they're getting people. You're always going to remember something positive about Nintendo. Some people remember Mario, it still exists, but the olden day Mario, they're going to remember the NES and how successful that was. They're going to remember all this positivity about Nintendo, and Nintendo doesn't want to leave it because they know if they quit and they start going in after serious gamers, that's the end, and then females, elderly, and children become a minority again, and it's back to the serious gamer. There are already 2 consoles for serious gamers. There's got to be 1 console for everyone else. So everyone else needs a console too. And that's what Nintendo is. Nintendo is compensating for the minority and turning them into a majority. So now there's less and less serious gamers that are looking down on Nintendo for no reason. And there are more and more children playing and families playing and everybody having a good old time with Nintendo. And they always have started with Nintendo. They always have had fun with it. It's always been a simple little thing. It's just a fun thing. There's not much violence. I mean, there is violence, but there's not much of it because they are trying to get kids, elderly, anybody who doesn't game into gaming. That is the master plan for Nintendo. That is what it's there for. Stop looking down on it. Stop saying, oh, it sucks, oh, Jesus. Go play the game you want to play. And stop making fun of the kids. Stop making fun of the females who want to get into gaming and don't know how. This is their chance. Nintendo is their chance. And then once they're done with Nintendo, they can go off and do other better, bigger things. Nintendo will always be there for something, and that's what it's there for. It's to get everyone gaming. Don't you want that? Don't you want everyone gaming? Isn't that truly the spirit of gaming? Is everybody having a grand old fun old time playing something simple and fun and enjoyable for the whole family and everybody, so that everybody can have as much fun as you? Don't you want that? And you can still have the same amount of fun you have, but everyone else can too. That's the point. Don't be hateful and bashful and be trash talking on the Call of the Duties. Be a family with Nintendo. That's the plan. And it hasn't failed yet because there's no margin for error. They're slightly they're slightly increasing their stuff. They're adding a new character, dropping a new feature, this or that change, little tiny itty bitty changes that make people go, it's just a Nintendo thing. It's nothing really that bad. I mean, there's just one less thing in this game, or there's two things more, this or that. There's really nothing to complain about because they haven't really changed. They literally have no margin of error because the only margin of error is impossible to get to again because it was so terrible that they just can't do that bad unless they absolutely want to. Which they don't. They just want to get everybody gaming. So that's how Nintendo is making money, is successful, is doing all this stuff, and it's important. It's not because they suck. It's because they're trying to get people who don't game into gaming. And heck, my cousin can now beat me at Call of Duty. Wasn't always this way, but hey, thanks to Nintendo, now he can because he gets all this practice. So, there you go. That's that. Hope you enjoyed.